A couple of years ago, Ramon, we did an interview with the leader of ACDP, Kenneth Michoud. This is a very based interview. And during it, he said, and I'm only repeating Kenneth, he said, blacks don't know how to do maintenance. They know how to consume, but they don't know how to maintain anything. What do you think Kenneth meant by that, Ramon?
Well, Kenneth can't be a racist because he himself is black. But news over the course of the last weekend was that Eskom is basically looking at stage 13 load shedding because the government has completely lied about everything they are doing to so-called maintain the coal fleet. So this came out in News 24, unfortunately, but they're useful in this regard. Basically 13,000 megawatts of power, which is equal to 13 stages of load shedding, is actually at risk because the maintenance of water treatment plants at power stations is, well, non-existent.
My static electricity shock is all apparent because Cyril told me that load shedding would be finished by last year's December. I mean, we're still having load shedding. And Fikile Imbalula assured me load shedding would be a thing of the past come the elections. And not only is it not a thing of the past, but it's at risk of going from stage like 2 to stage 13? What the fuck?
And the reason why stage 13 is because to fix these things, you have to take them offline. Like, you can't drive a car when you need to fix the carburetor. You have to put the car away, switch off the engine, then fix it. Very similar to a coal power station. You don't need a PhD to understand this. If you don't fix them, they break. I know this is a weird, thing in Africa, but if you don't fix something, it breaks down. Then you're fucked. So to fix it, you have to make it stop working. And then you fix it, and then you switch it on again. Then it works much better. So Cyril, let's clip that and send that to Cyril. Maybe he'll understand. So if they decide to fix it, they have to switch it off. And switching off those things equals stage 13 load shedding. But here's the thing. They're not going to switch off. We're not going to have stage 13 load shedding. We're just going to have permanent load shedding because those things are going to break. And then this country's properly fucked.
You know what's really interesting, Ramon? There's a reason they don't want to have stage 13 load shedding. And that is the news that apparently criminals use Eskom Sapush to know when to steal power cables. Don't know if you knew that. So they actually check the app. And they're like, okay, guys, any minute the power's off, we can steal that electricity without getting fried to a cinder. Now imagine stage 13, man. Like, hey, you go all day. Like, they will loot these cables and these power lines dry. By the time they fix the power stations, there'll be no cables left. And they will all have like permanent load shedding. But you know, Ramon, there is a way we can fix this, according to the news article in question. All we need is really like good performance at the coal power station. I mean, because, when a car's falling apart and the tires are falling off at the sides, as long as the driver's good, car's fine. Apparently.
The report does say, there's various ways to fix this. Just treat power plants like they're power plants and just fix them and hire people that can fix them and then sort of incentivize people to fix them and give powers to the managers to fix the plants and just have, pay them to fix the plants. This is a 500-page report. I don't know how much it costs. I could have, written this in 2 sentences and, pay me 50 million rand for that. But basically the report says, after 600 pages, says, just run the power grid like Europe did in 1850 when they electrified, and then you'll be fine. We don't have to build like Wakanda here. We don't have to build a nuclear reactor or get some titanium fucking Tesla batteries to run everything. It's just just fix shit. But this is Africa. That's an imperialist Western notion, fixing stuff.
Yes, Ramon, because you're not understanding, man. The reason they're not fixing shit is because you're not incentivizing the employees enough to fix it. Apparently a salary isn't incentive enough to do your job. You need to give them bonuses and free accommodation and travel expenses to go to and from power stations to remote areas and all sorts of weird and wonderful shit. It's almost like we employ people at Eskom not to work at Eskom. Man, Eskom's so fucked. It's so fucked. And it's interesting that we have a minister of electricity and even he doesn't know how to fucking fix the thing.
He doesn't know how to fix anything. But this is the black tax that we spoke about in a previous video, where you hire people not based on marriage, you hire people based on race, and it basically becomes a cottage industry of grifters. Except the grifters are running the power grid, except the grifters are running the railway lines, except the grifters are running the essential elements of what makes a country a country. If those grifters are not running anything, then everything is going to collapse and the country will no longer exist as a country. So that's why we're saying, based on this report, and of course, a variety of other things, South Africa is headed for balkanization. It's not a country that's going to exist in time to come because there is nothing there that makes it a country. Already there's no monopoly on violence. Already there's no border. And right now, there's currently very little to no infrastructure. So welcome to the black tax of South Africa in 2024, where it literally destroys a country that's over 100 years old. This is the ANC's legacy.
You know what I don't understand, Ramon? Is like this entire report has just been released. Right? And they've come up with all this weird and stupid shit that we've just talked about. Do you remember when Dorata went into office, like all the way back when? And we're not like the world's biggest fans of Dorata. I mean, he has his flaws as well. I mean, all the green bullshit. But anyway, do you remember when he first went into office? What was the first thing he said? You know, we should probably maintain the fleets, huh? Like, we should probably fix them. And like, 4 years later, some prick has paid these guys hundreds of millions to write a 500-page report that says what Dorata said for free? This is like Cyril 101, right? I mean, whenever you don't know something, just write a report. I mean, the fact that you wrote a report means it's all fixed now. And, you know, load shedding won't ever happen again. Because, like, they wrote it in a report. So, I mean, it must just be. This is dumb, man. This is, like, proper dumb.
Well, it's like this other report, pay R1 billion to understand what everyone else knows and how to solve it, and then just not solve it. It's exactly the same principle. Ironically, under Zuma, we didn't have load shedding, Byron, and I wonder why. What did Brian Molefe and Machela Koko know that the Rater and the current team don't know? Those guys were paying grifters and they're going to court for all sorts of corruption and things like that. We know for a fact that corruption hasn't stopped. Arguably, it has intensified, but that doesn't account for the load shedding and the height of load shedding compared to Jacob Zuma's tenure. So, you know, maybe we just need to go back 6 years, bring Zuma back, make sure his people are running Eskom, because back then Eskom was much better than it currently is at the moment. So somehow we do know maintenance, but under Jacob Zuma, not under Cyril Ramaphosa.
Yeah, it's bizarre. It's absolutely bizarre, man. But with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, yeah, you really need to get solar on that house and business. If you can't afford solar, get a bloody generator. You can get a Ryobi one for 10 grand from bloody Macro. You're going to need it, I'm afraid.
And if you say this is a point of privilege and you need lots of money, start with the UPS. Start with battery-operated lights. Just understand your life as you knew it with electricity 24 hours is not coming back. Get used to it.